Welcome to the Write Your Own Story podcast. I'm your host, Betsy Leonidas, and the founder of the Write Your Own Story company. Girl, I can tell you right now, you are definitely enough. Here we value service, sisterhood, connection, laughter, and that super genuine, keep it real, tell you like it is honesty. My hope is at the end of each episode, you realize you can do whatever it is you dream about and that you are not alone with what you struggle with. I'm hoping that you are snapping and clapping and hell yes in your way through each one of these episodes. So if this tracks with you, let's get started. I'm so glad you're here. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the latest episode of the Write Your Own Story podcast. I am your host, Betsy Leonidas, and I am so thrilled today to be here with Carrie Fabris. Carrie, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited about our conversation.
Me too. This is going to be a really empowering one. You and I are both ex-corporate girls who, have climbed the ladder, swung the ladder, all the things, and have
down the ladder, tripped over the ladder,
broke the ladder.
Yes,
totally. So I think kind of leveraging that experience into how to empower women is going to be a really great conversation. Our intention is to help women see where their energy is leaking. I think everyone just turn the dial up, where their boundaries need strengthening and where they've been playing small. By the end, listeners will feel more grounded, more capable, and more ready to take the next bold step in their life. I know this episode is dedicated to women who want it all, but feel nervous about going all in on themselves. And I think sort of like pausing and really just recognizing the definition of wanting it all doesn't have to be corporate. It doesn't have to be even job-based, but like you have whatever the want it all is for your version of life, no matter what that is. Whether you be a stay-at-home mom, which is the hardest job in the world in my eyes, to you're leading corporate America or anything in between, it's a matter of just sort of like being nervous about going all in on themselves. When you think about these women, what do you want most of them to know before we even begin and dive in to this episode?
I want them to understand that every single one of us has our own version of what going all in means. And I think that we need to not compare ourselves.
Oh, snap.
Preach, right? We need to not compare ourselves. Every single one of us is our own shiny, sparkly unicorn. And it is really just allowing ourselves to define what our version of going all in is. When we are nervous, I believe it is our soul that's trying to get our attention. I talk about, and I'm sure this will come up, and I think why we're talking about going all in is my book is called All In. And I talk about this episode I had along my journey with fear. And I had to understand, I had to learn that fear was actually my friend, and it was getting louder because it was trying to get my stubborn ass attention. And until I listened and I did the thing that was scaring the crap out of me or that I was very nervous about, until I did that, it just got louder and louder. But when I did it, it went away. So I think that when we're nervous, we are denying listening to what our soul is really, truly wanting. And as long as we just define what that is for ourselves and we're unapologetic about it, then we can leap into our dreams. We can jump into what seems exciting but scary. And so just want to leave that as a good place to start. When we leap towards where we're supposed to be, we are not going to fall, we will fly.
Absolutely. Oh, what a great place to start. I think one of the lessons that I constantly have to retell myself is to keep my eyes on my own paper. There is something that happens to me, and I don't think I'm alone in this, that when I start to leap, I also assign like a very arbitrary timeline to my leap to when I'm going to land. And I like it too until it doesn't happen in my arbitrary timeline. And then I'm like, well, I suck. I absolutely suck. And that's the thing is like, of course we want timelines. We want SMART goals. We want things that are timely and measurable and all the things. I'm not saying don't do that, but from my personal experience, things happen on their own timeline. And one of the things that you said that I love is like this idea that, these feelings wouldn't be brought to you and put on your heart and said from your soul if they weren't meant for you. Like no one has a dream that's just completely not meant for them. So
I think we have those dreams because there's I don't know. I always want to make sure to not sound super woo woo.
Oh wait, I'm so woo woo. You're in good company.
So we're gonna woo woo it all out.
Yep.
I wonder if we have these dreams because they're being sent to us and we just don't realize it.
Yeah.
And so then it's the courage to acknowledge it, have awareness of it, kind of explore it, and try it. And you made the comment, like, you know, if you have this arbitrary timeline, you don't meet it, and you're like, oh, I suck. I think it's really important because, especially women, we have such an a-hole that lives in our brain.
Literally.
Just literally the constant beat down self-talk that we do to ourselves. And so I want to encourage all of us to just we got to honor the failure. I wouldn't be where I am today with my business if I hadn't failed awesomely the first time. Yes. And so we've got to allow ourselves, you know, when I love talking with people, coaching with people who say they have a fear of failure, because I just get real playfully direct, and I go, okay, so are you afraid to grow? Well, no, of course not. I go, because that's kind of what you're saying. If you're afraid to fail, you're afraid to grow. And I'm like, so let's change the narrative here, because you have to fail to grow. You have to fail to learn, to perfect all of these things. And you got to give yourself grace. If you fail, just be like, to your point, that sucked. But then you just give yourself about 5 seconds to just be like, ugh. And then you're like, okay, dust it off. I'm going to try again. And you go again. Because again, back to where we started, you are defining your version of going all in. Yeah. So don't let people tell you what your failure was or how you sucked, or, you know, that you weren't good enough, because it's got to come from you, because all the answers are within you.
Absolutely. And to your point, don't let the a-hole in your brain be the one to tell you that either, because you know that's not who you are. I am going to, like, truly, I have this every once in a while in these episodes where I'm like, I'm going to think about that for the rest of the day. I hated failing, have learned to love closed doors and to appreciate failure for what it is, because I'm like, that's how you learn. But you said it so profoundly that, like, you cannot grow without failure.
Right.
And so now it's kind of like, okay, well, bring it on. I want to grow. So, like, bring on the failure. I've never thought about it that way, but in reflection, yes, I don't think I've ever grown without failure.
I love asking those kind of questions that I know the answer to before they answer it, because no one's going to say, I don't like growing. Yeah. So you're saying you don't like to grow. Well, no. Like, you expect that. And then you kind of watch their face. You're like, oh, okay, I see what you did there. I'm like, you see what I did there? Like, it's just calling it out in a playfully direct, tough love kind of way that just highlights the narrative that we're telling ourselves so many times, that is just, it is a story, and it is a crappy story. So we gotta change that a little bit.
Yeah. And it's so hard not to ruminate in failure, because especially as women, we are so bred for perfection, and that safety is connected to perfection. And so, and you know, our worth is defined by external sources. And if they see failure, then there goes our source of worth. And it's just a whole complicated web that we all are dismantling one positive thought at a time. But I was, watching something last night, probably Instagram, and it was an interview with Matthew McConaughey, and they were asking about his mom, who apparently is a real character.
I can imagine. That's probably where he gets it from.
Probably. Yeah. And she apparently lives by turn the page. So, like, don't hold on to it. Turn the page. And so, like, if you fail, just turn the page, keep going, keep reading, keep writing. I was like, that's really good. I like that.
I love his book, Green Lights. Have you read his book?
Yeah, I listened to it. I loved it.
Too. You have to listen to it because he narrates it.
Yes.
You're like, I can't wait to hear the all right. And then when he does
all right. It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. It's really great.
Okay. Well, I got so excited with your answer because I was so obsessed with it, but could we for one sec take a step back? And you had mentioned that you had to fail the first time to get to where you are. Can we just give the listeners a little bit about your story and how you came to be?
Yeah, sure. So I, as we talked, corporate girl, for over 20 years in the travel industry with Travelocity, Google, Sabre, started my leadership career at Google in the early 2000s. I'm like, I have to do the math, and I can't believe it's been 20 years since I was at
All
Google.
I know is that we're both 22. Continue.
Yes, we are. I stepped out of corporate for a second, and you mentioned being a full-time mom is one of the hardest jobs. It was. And speaking of failure, I failed at being a full-time mom.
Same.
And what I mean by that is at the time, my babies were 1 and 3, they're 12 and 14 now. They were my whole world, but I also left a team of 30 that like wanted my leadership, listened to my coaching, to a team of 2 that just did not. And so it was like, I really miss the leadership. I miss the professional conversation, all of that stuff. So I had this unique opportunity to just ask myself if there's anything I could do, what would it be? And I love leadership. And I think there's a lot of leaders out there, God love them. They do not know what they're doing. Yeah. And a lot of us have heard the phrase, people don't leave their company, they leave their leader. So I decided, freak flag up. I think I can help with my leadership experience working for some of the top brands in the world. And I launched Career Frame in 2016. So next year will be 10 years. Awesome. And as I said, failed awesomely because when I was doing it, it was very ego driven. And ego is not scalable. It was very ego driven, thinking I could do all this stuff. There's a lot of us coaches that will just self-proclaim, I'm a coach. Yeah. I was one of those people. And so just failed awesomely at it. I had a lot of personal stuff going on with my son at the time. I didn't want to go sell. Things kind of started falling. I wasn't making enough money. So I had to face the reality of go back to corporate and be safe. Yeah. My book, All In, literally starts with this. It starts with me boarding a plane to London to go to a week vacation by myself to figure out, what am I going to do? Am I going to do Career Frame? Am I going to go back to corporate? Which is going to happen? But then fast forward, I decided the Career Frame path and then did not do it well. So ended up going back to corporate for 2 years. And when I did that, I was all in year 1. Year 2, spent most days crying because I was so miserable. So back to that, my soul was like, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be in Career Frame, helping other leaders be even more amazing. And I had to look in the mirror and just go, I got to do this right this time. I got to figure out a lot of my own shit. I got to unpack a lot of things. So I hired a coach. Went all in on Tony Robbins. I'm the last person on the planet who thought I would do anything Tony Robbins. And then not only did I go to his UPW, I bought Mastery. I did all of it. Awesome. And really unpacked trauma, grieving that I hadn't done. I lost my mother when I was very little. All of this stuff that had just been building up. And I was just kind of showing up in life as if. Yeah. So I really had to face, there's something missing. I can be better. I need to unpack some things. I need to remove some things. I need to heal some things. So I did all of that. And then I jumped back into Career Frame full of fear in 2020, right before the world shut down. And I was like, universe, you're hilarious. Yeah. So I was like, okay. But just kept one foot in front of the other. I was like, I'm going to plant in the winter, something will grow in the spring. Plant in the winter, something will grow in the spring. So just kept going, reaching out to my network, reaching out to some folks on LinkedIn. Things started to kick in. I decided to get certified in CliftonStrengths with Gallup. I had been doing it for a few years, not certified because, again, my ego thought I could. Yeah. And it was interesting because when I actually did get the certification, I was like, my ego totally showed up to the class in Atlanta. And I just was like, we got to check this at the door. You'll learn something, right? Yeah, right. I wish I could say I learned a lot more. I had studied it that much, and I got the official seal so I could say, yes, I am a certified Gallup CliftonStrengths coach. And then went on to get certified in emotional intelligence. Then I worked with the Center for Leadership Studies and became one of their first facilitators of situational leadership that had my own business. So a lot of people will get certified in that because they work on an HR team or they work for Center for Leadership Studies. So I was one of their first facilitators that was doing it for my own business, collaborating with them. And so here we are several years later, and the business took off. I reached my 5-year goal the second time. I reached my 5-year goal from that starting point of 2019 in 2 years.
Awesome.
And it's been an awesome ride ever since, really working with corporate clients that their senior leaders will bring me in to work with their next level down to get them elevated, make sure they're communicating. I help people. It's almost like work therapy. I help professionals learn how to communicate. So they can build trust. They can have productive conflict. We can hold each other accountable. We're actually appreciating each other's strengths and where we're coming from. When to get out of someone's way, because quite frankly, they're better at this than you are. Again, no ego. We don't have room for ego here. So I've had a really awesome time doing it, and very much feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And along the way, again, there were sloppy sideways for sure, ups and downs. There was the harsh reality of going back to corporate for those 2 years. I mean, kicking and screaming, but it was doing the responsible thing. And sometimes responsibility sucks.
It sucks, right?
It's the worst so bad. It's the worst part. So bad.
Yeah. So it's so funny that I know that you had referenced in your book this sort of like, how did you call it? Ups, downs, and sloppy sideways.
Yes.
And I love the opening of your book to be like, I'm boarding a plane to be like, I have to figure this out. I totally understand wanting to go back to corporate. Corporate culture builds these beautiful wins, either you are getting promoted, you are getting more money, you are meeting certain objectives. It's really like, it keeps you in the game. Right.
Yes.
And when you go out on your own or you go and stay home with your kids, you're like, where did all my wins go? Where did all my attaboys and high fives and pat on the backs go? And I think that's one of the hardest transitions. What I wanted to ask you though was, you had mentioned there are sort of many chapters and ups and downs, but like which chapter comes to mind that kind of stretched you the most as a woman and as a leader, where you were like, whether it be stretched in a painful way or stretched you into growth? And they're probably, as you said, one and the same.
Yeah, I would say that the part of my journey that stretched me the most was when I finally got the courage to leap and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
It was a huge test because I basically decided to, on purpose, walk away from security, safety, a corporate salary, 6-figure corporate salary, to zero. And then when the world shut down, I was like, oh my God, what have I done?
And all your work is in person, theoretically, right?
My current work?
Yes, right. So the work that you're ready to relaunch theoretically was all going to be in person.
Some of it is. There is actually a pretty good mix of virtual as well. And what ended up saving me, and then I'll go back to the stretch part, but what ended up saving me was I had been a remote leader before remote was a thing.
Oh, how about
that?
I
always had, even going back to Google, I managed a team in Atlanta. But remember when we had GoToMeeting and I could share my desktop with you? But there was no this. There was no seeing your face. I had that, my whole corporate leadership career had been leading remote North America teams. So when the world went remote, I was like, guys and gals, this is not that hard.
Right.
I actually can help you with this. I can help you understand that this is called intentional leadership. This is not that hard.
Yeah.
So that's actually what helped me ultimately end up building the business in the peak of COVID. But at the moment, it was, I'm supposed to be launching this business. Now I have to be a school teacher to my kids. I've got to get them on Google Meet and got to make sure they're doing their class. And I have a special needs kid. So like getting him on Google Meet was just going to be tough.
Totally.
But we made it through. But it was also, again, back to that fear. There's a vivid, and this is described in the book, very, very vivid memory. I'm wearing my Firewalker Tony Robbins tank top. I go out to the deck at my dad's mountain house in New Mexico, and I just like arms to the sky, like, what the actual holy hell is happening? And I put my AirPods in and I play Calvin Harris and Neo's Let's Go. And I just start kind of bouncing, and it just was like, I can do this. I can do this. Everything's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I just felt like fear was just circling like this vulture.
Totally.
And again, I think most of our relationships with fear is like, you're so awful and ugly and I hate you and I don't like the way you feel. And at that moment, that just was, I was like, I'm not going to listen to you from that lens. I'm not going to hear the scary part of you. And I just kept bouncing and let's go. And just the lyrics of that song
Yep.
were so perfect. And so that time really stretched me to just keep going. I could have said, abort, made a mistake, back it up, call my company back. Can I come back? Call someone else.
Yeah.
I actually had a recruiter call me a few weeks after dangling an SVP role.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good right here.
Yeah.
And so that part really stretched me for growth. And now, I mean, fear is like when it shows up, I'm like, well, how's it going, old friend? What are you here to teach me? And I just have a completely different relationship with it now.
I love that. So you said that you're no longer looking at the lens of like, oh my God, this is trying to protect me. This is going to shut me down. And now you're like, how does it, what are you here to teach me? What kind of questions do you ask yourself, or what's your process to be able to understand? Because fear is so loud and it courses through veins, right? So how do you separate yourself from that? And what's your process to figure out, okay, what are you here to teach me? Versus just being like,
but it really is simply asking that question. Like it's acknowledging the emotion, the feeling in the body.
mm-hmm.
Like a lot of us women ignore that.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why our shoulders hurt, why our lower back hurts, why we're not sleeping, why our eyes twitching, like we ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
So I acknowledge it. I'm like, okay, body doesn't lie. So something's going on. And then I treat it like a friend. I'm just like, okay, so haven't seen you in a bit.
Yeah.
What have you got? At a Tony Robbins event, Date with Destiny, which is actually where I had my breakthrough to hold my nose and jump back into the business. I'm walking in these giant arenas, and if anyone listening has been to a Tony Robbins event, like it's massive arenas, like anywhere from 8 to 11,000 people. And there's this huge banner on the wall. I physically stopped walking. Like if someone was behind me, they would have run into me. Like I physically stopped when I saw this, and it said, frustration means you're about to have a breakthrough. And when I read that, I just instant shift. I was like, oh my gosh. So like now when I'm feeling frustrated, I'm going to get excited. I'm going to be like, okay, so what does this mean? Something big is coming. And now I'm actually excited about what that is. Totally. And sometimes it happens pretty quickly. Sometimes it's over time. Like I started having this feeling, again, I'm big into energy. Yeah. I feel energetic things and my intuition. And last August, I was like, I cannot explain it, but some shift is coming to the business. I don't know what it is. I don't know when it is, but I feel it. And just now I'm starting to understand and get the clarity of what that shift is.
Isn't that incredible?
So the breakthrough sometimes comes longer down the road, but again, it changes. That's what I do when, again, I feel it in my body. I'm like, old friend has showed up. I'm kind of frustrated with this feeling. Oh, breakthrough is going to happen. What is fear trying to get my attention on? Now I need to just open my eyes and pay attention. I need to listen more. I need to look around more. I need to figure this out.
Or like sometimes fear will, I find in entrepreneurship, especially, fear will bring up like an old wound. People like, I find so many women, myself included, it's so hard to close the sale, to ask for the price or to follow up and close the deal, because you're just like, okay, he's talking about money. Am I worth this? Whatever. And then if you think about all the fear of like that awkward conversation, maybe has to do with sort of assigning a value to your worth when worth was a challenge in the first place or something like that. So
yeah. So can we unpack that for a second?
I would literally love to.
And I apologize. I had my dog in the crate, but because we're doing this, and he just got let back into my office. So he may join. I
would literally love nothing more. I mean, we've seen everything on this show. People who listen, we've seen all the up downs and all
very
around.
Cute. So he might pop in.
I have 4 pets, so I would love it.
So you made the comment around the fear of pricing and like how someone's going to respond. I too have been through that. And I just want to encourage, especially we women, like, again, be unapologetic. Don't be bitchy. Don't be aggressive. Be unapologetic of, if you would like to work with me, the impact I'm going to make, the value you're going to get, costs this.
Yeah.
And actually, let me rephrase my own words because I just said a word that I can't stand, and that is cost.
Ooh.
When I'm talking with someone, if they say vendor or they say cost, I'm actually not really interested. I want to be a partner and I want it to be an investment.
Yeah.
But even I just caught myself. We still think in terms of cost, right? Because it's our money. We work hard to get our money, and then we're going to be spending it on something. But when it comes to working with you, it's really understanding the value that you're going to bring to that client, and how you're literally going to change lives personally, professionally, the ripple effect of that, the longevity of that. And you can't really put a price on that. So it's also just like being true to yourself and honoring yourself. If someone doesn't want to invest in you for the amount that, quite frankly, you want to invest in yourself for the impact you're making, then that's not the partner for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it took me a minute to get to that point. I definitely went through my lack money of get the money, get the money, get the money. And now I'm get the meaning, get the connection, get the partnership.
Yes.
Because those type of engagements look very different.
1,000%.
When it is a partnership and you're a vendor, we need you to do this, and we're only
it's transactional at that point.
Transactional, yes,
and cost is transactional. And I love this. Also reminded me of something that I really had to unpack when I first started entrepreneurial journeys, is that I equated my value, or my the more sales that I made, the smarter I felt and the better I felt at my job. Yeah. And I was like, that's really, excuse my language, but fucked up. But I mean, again, if I go back to my conditioning of being in the corporate world, if you do a good job, you make more money, you get the promotion, you get the raise. So I'm like, I'm only doing a good job if I'm just making sale after sale after sale. So one of my biggest learnings from my previous entrepreneurial journey, after I worked, my last corporate stop was at Deloitte. I was a consultant, burnt to a crisp. Great company, just not right for me. Especially I had 4 kids, 4 and under, and was one of those moments just like you had where I was like, I think I need to go back after consulting on my own for a while. Anyway, long story long, I opened a high-end paper and gift shop, and COVID hit and everyone wanted to give gifts. So it was kind of prime time. Right. And I kept changing what I offered because people were like, could you do this? I'm like, sure. Could you do this? Sure. Before I knew it, I was almost like a personalized Etsy shop, and so far away from my high-end paper because I just wanted, the sales were like a drug. I was like, okay, thank God I don't have to sell. That must mean I'm valuable. And I ended up in a landing place where I was like, I mean, I like this because it's cute, but this is not what my heart wanted. And that was like, again, going back to your point, like I had to fail big time on that one to be like, oh, well, that was a lesson that I needed to learn. And so sometimes as we start new ventures, you have to remember it's your soul's calling, not your wallet's calling.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of us, I'm guilty of this too. We equate money to success because it is uber measurable.
Totally.
And we all would do ourselves a big favor if we measured success by how we felt at the end of the day. Are we aligned with what we've done? Do we feel good about what we've done? The money is an amazing bonus on top of it all. But I think that when we are going forward with authentic connection and we're giving our energy, we actually become magnetic. People want to work with us. And guess what comes with that? The money.
Totally.
But when we're only focused on the money, and that's, again, showing our worth. Yeah. The head trash can get pretty thick. Been there.
Head trash.
Been there.
Incredible. Okay. The other thing that you hit on that I just want to dive right on into, because I feel like there's so much to learn. I'm also like a very energetically charged human. Yes. And if I would love to just kind of unpack more your perspective on energy and where sort of how you uncovered that about yourself and how that's influenced your life and how we can help inspire others to be more and how they can care for their own energy.
Yeah. So I would say more times than not, if people used a word to describe me, they would say energetic.
Mm-hmm.
I am an extrovert. I can talk a wall's ear off.
Same girl, same.
Yeah. So and sometimes, the older I'm getting, sometimes I do want to just rest and digest, but most of the time I'm pretty expressive with my hands and just high energy. And working with so many corporate executives and watching, and burnout's a thing, as we know, unfortunately. And I started just going, like, how's the human showing up? And like, we'll talk about performance and your job description and your KPIs and all that stuff, but like, let's back it up. And how are you physically and mentally, emotionally, spiritually? And spiritually in this sense means meaning and purpose. Okay. And so I started playing with this concept. I did not create this concept, but it did pop in my mind. And then I started researching it, and other people have mentioned this concept as well. So this is nothing Carrie created, but it is the concept around return on energy. So we do talk about our ROI. We want to put money towards something. We want to get a higher return on that money that we've invested. And so we're just turning this towards ourselves and our energy. So when we are investing our energy in something, what is the return we're getting back on it?
Ooh.
And so I have this framework called vibe check, basically. And it's like verify how you're feeling about something. Just what are the emotions that are coming up? The impact of those emotions. Okay. So this is like, is this a good impact? Is this a bad impact? Again, just evaluating what the impact is of those feelings and emotions. Then you want to go to balance the cost of it. There's that word. And this time it is intentional.
Okay.
This is a cost. You are spending time, emotions, money, whatever. What are you doing that is costing you this energy? And then you get to either execute on it or you eliminate it based on, now we're going to switch that cost into an investment, because now we can look at it differently, because sometimes that ROE is immediate. Sometimes the ROE is long-term. Like if you're a startup entrepreneur, the ROE, the making the coffee, the 15-hour days, the sleepless nights, the trying to raise capital, all the things, that is going to be a longer ROE. You've got to be able to see the return on all this energy you're spending down the road.
Yeah.
Other things, you might want more instant gratification. And so when we look through this framework, and again, that vibe check is just a little worksheet, which I believe you have. And
yes, I do.
You share your show notes. It's just a quick little framework to just journal, write some things down so you can be honest with yourself of, is this energy worth it? Now, I get this all the time. Carrie, I don't really have a choice because my boss has asked me to do XYZ. And I'm like, okay, that's okay. So even more so, go through this list, go through this framework, because if anything, maybe the story you're telling yourself is, this is bullshit. I don't want to do this. Somebody else should be doing it. And maybe something else is going on that is creating you to feel this way or talk this way. But when you put up that little mirror, because you've now gone through this this checklist, you might actually see that, like, okay, I actually can see the value of this. It's just really painful right now. And that's the power behind ROE. It is painful right now. Can you see the return?
Yes.
If it's painful and you see no return, you got to do something about it. Because a lot of us just stay in a job, and it's a job. It's not a career. A lot of us stay there because we feel stuck. We all have the choice.
Yeah.
Every single one of us has a choice. And I love when someone's like, I don't have a choice. I'm like, don't you? Yeah. Because we do. It's like whenever I hear can't, I'm like, switch that to won't.
Ooh.
Okay. And that's straight from Tony Robbins. If you're saying you can't, you're saying you won't. And when you say you won't you? Or will you actually? And just stop telling yourself this shitty story. Yes. So the return on energy is just a really interesting framework. On my LinkedIn profile, I haven't done it in a while. I'm doing a whole new brand relaunch, a whole new website relaunch in Q1. So I've kind of paused on the ROE videos. I'm going to start changing my messaging. I will always talk about ROE because I love it so much. But these videos on LinkedIn, going all the way back to between like February and up till like the end of July, I would post every Tuesday and Thursday about check your ROE on some topic. Yeah. So if anybody wants to be entertained on, I need to know how do I have an ROE on hard conversations? How do I have an ROE on trust and building trust with somebody, just all these different really relevant topics that help people think about return on energy.
I love a deep dive. I will absolutely be doing that. And yes, we do have this checklist, and we will be linking that in the show notes. So absolutely everyone check this out. If you're building your dream business and you know you need to build an email list, but the idea of picking and using an email platform totally overwhelms you, trust me, I get it. But I've got you, girl. Flowdesk is where it's at. Flowdesk is the email marketing platform designed with female entrepreneurs in mind. Think gorgeous, on-brand templates plus powerful workflows that save you hours. I promise you, I've never used an easier email platform with such stunning results. Whether you're sending an email launching a new offer or podcast episode, sharing new news, or trying out a fancy workflow to convert a new email subscriber into a paying customer, Flowdesk helps you show up professionally with ease without spending a ton of time or money. And not to mention, these emails are gorgeous. And because you're a Write Your Own Story podcast listener, you get an exclusive 50% off your first year of Flowdesk. Plus, they'll send you $19 cash back when you join using the link in the show notes. So if you're ready to send stunning emails that convert and actually enjoy the process, click the link in the show notes and give Flowdesk a try. That's 50% off your first year plus $19 back in your pocket. Check out Flowdesk today. It's like your super talented email writing best friend. I promise you won't regret it. Now, back to the episode. This whole conversation I'm obsessed with. Let's say we evaluate something. I mean, it could literally be anything as small. I always bring this example up. I am a single mother of 4, and I cannot tell you how much I'm reframing, but if I'm I hate doing the dishwasher. I'm so sick of doing it. I do it every day. I know every mom does it every day.
I only have 2 kids and it never
stops, right? I'm not the only one. I will throw my own pity party about it, but I'm like, for the love of God, honestly, my garbage disposal just broke. And I was like, does that mean we have to DoorDash? Woohoo! So
whatever works.
But I see the ROE is high. When I do it, I feel organized and prepared and able to care for my family. Sometimes I literally have to do the work to be like, Betsy, you are so damn lucky that you have these 4 beautiful children, that you have the ability to pay for the food that is on the table, that you have the time to cook the food, no matter how crappy it turned out.
And you have a dishwasher.
And I have a dishwasher versus doing it by my hands. And then I'm like, and you love starting the day with a clean kitchen. Does it happen all the time? Probably not at all. But, I see the value. I see the return. I know the energy that it feeds back for me, all the way to your point of, I'm in a job that feels shitty, or I'm in an assignment that feels shitty in a job, but then you kind of work your way into being able to see the return. Now what? Because how maybe we've depleted ourselves from these stories thus far. So we're scraping the barrel on energy. How do we reload, and how do we sort of prep the mind to be able to tackle the assignment in a new way?
Yeah, I can't, I am saying can't, because I literally can't. This isn't even a won't. This is I can't not speak about strengths. Strengths is your energy zone.
Okay.
So when it comes to work, and professional and personal, work and life, it is power. Knowledge is power, right? So it's power to know what your strengths are and to actually lean into them.
Yeah.
So we do this obviously with teams in corporate. So my number 1 strength is communication. So as I said, I can talk and talk and talk. The most important part of communication is listening.
Yes.
So I'm always listening and reading and observing. If you saw more of my background, you'd see I have a lot of owls on my shelves.
Ooh,
so
cool.
An owl, kind of watching, observing, and curious. I'm always watching and listening for what people are saying. And when we're frustrated, we're not in our strength zone.
Ooh.
When we're uncomfortable, we're being asked to do something that actually, let me rephrase. When we're frustrated, we are being blocked from using one of our strengths. When we're
an example of that? Yeah. Okay. Keep going. And then I would love to do examples. Yes.
So when we're frustrated, we are being blocked from using one of our strengths. When we are uncomfortable, we are being asked to use a strength we do not have. when we look up and we're like, holy crap, where did this day go? Like that just flew by. Chances are we are in our strength zone. So when it comes to, and strengths is all about energy. It's all about what gives us the most energy to what drains our energy. So when we talk about energy leakage, it's check yourself. Are you staying in a zone of uncomfortableness because you're being asked to do something that is not your zone? An example, I coached a woman years ago. She had analytical, which is a talent theme in Gallup's CliftonStrengths. She had analytical number 1, which is really gets energy from data, proof, reason, credible sources, things like that. And data analysis, yada, yada. Yeah. And there's 34 talents in CliftonStrengths. So analytical number 1, communication 34. So
that was her scores.
That was her number 1 and her number 34 out of 34 talents that you were shown in this assessment.
Yes.
And she was an analyst behind the scenes doing her thing.
Totally.
She had a leader. She had one of those leaders that basically said, you know what? You need to get out of your shell. I need you to be a little bit more forward to the executives. And I want you to start presenting to the executive team, blah, blah, blah.
To me, that means the leader is too lazy to understand the data and wants her to do the dirty work, but neither here nor there.
There's that, and or the leader's only thinking about herself.
Woo-hoo.
Okay. And a lot of leaders do this. It's all about what the leader needs. And I'm like, you're completely missing the point. You will get 10x out of this person if you put them in their strength zone. So what do you think this lady did? Not the leader, the person I was coaching. What do you think she did?
Crumpled and like hated it. Did she
quit.
leave? Yeah.
She quit. And I was like, I mean, high five on that. And so this leader lost knowledge, a really great performer behind the scenes, all the things, because she was too busy focusing on herself and telling an analytical introvert who is terrified to present in front of people to get out of her shell and go present to the executive team. So that's an example of when we get out of our strength zone. Now, the example of frustration, tons of achievers out there. Yeah. You know who you are. Okay. You've got your to-do list or 5. You need to mark things off. You want to get things done, but you're waiting on other people and they're not being accountable or they're not following up. And therefore you're not getting your stuff done. Now you're going to be pissed off because achievers feel like that's a wasted day. And so that's an example of, I want to get things done. Something or someone is blocking me from getting things done. So now I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
So I always encourage people, when you feel the frustration, go to your strengths, personify them. So you can talk to them. Which one is it? Oh, achiever's pissed. Okay. Why is achiever's pissed? Because I actually enjoy being productive. I get energy from being productive and getting things done and marking things off. Jim Bob over here is keeping me from getting something done. So I need to go have a conversation with Jim Bob. And I need to talk to him and say, hey, help me, help you, help me, because I need to get this done. So it is a communication tool around how we show up energetically. Yeah. And when we can help other people understand and appreciate how we're showing up, then it just changes the conversation, changes the dynamic.
Absolutely. And again, it goes back to, it takes things away from a transactional exchange to a value exchange, like you were saying. That is such an easy
I love how you keep bringing that up too, by the way.
Yeah. Well, apparently I really needed to hear it because it's really hitting. So I'm so grateful. But like, it's such a more genuine, honest conversation when it's a value exchange and everyone's in it for the greater good versus what are you going to give me? What am I going to give you? Transactions feel icky.
Transactions feel so icky. And I love that you keep bringing that word up because we are wired from the day we're born for connection. Yeah. We're wired for connection. And when we get to transactional, you're right. It is icky. It's gross. It's there's no, it's absent of connection. And it doesn't make people feel good. And it doesn't make people want to do things for you or with you. And so collaboration gets stunted, communication gets stunted. We don't trust each other. We're definitely not going to have productive conflict. Like the ripple effect of a transactional situation is just gross and disappointing.
Literally gross. It's such a true word. Okay. So going back to the strengths component, if someone is sitting here now and they're like, okay, I totally track with this, but what are my strengths? How do we figure this out?
Yeah. So anyone can go to gallup.com and purchase an assessment. So you just literally put your credit card down, you buy an assessment, we'll send you the link, or you'll be able to actually do it right there in Gallup's website. You just have to register for an account. You take the assessment. It is about, give yourself about 20, 25 uninterrupted minutes because every question will time you out.
Ooh.
You also would encourage you, if you're taking it, try really hard to pick one or the other side. Don't hit neutral, 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 neutral.
Yeah.
Pick one. Don't overthink it. It's just gut, because it is a self-assessment. But if you start overthinking it, then here's the mirror that's going to go up. You're trying to give the perfect answer. You're trying to go for perfection subconsciously. And it's just you. It's you in the assessment. It is a self-assessment. It is not a test. I'm the obnoxious coach. So every time I hear test, I interrupt. I'm like, it's not a test. It is not pass fail. There's no grade. Like, and again, it says so much, like the competitiveness, right? It's like, no test. It is an assessment. So anyone can do it. And there are hundreds, probably thousands of us Gallup certified coaches that are here to help you understand what it means. Because when you take the assessment, you will get this amazing 26-page report, and it will go into detail of your top 5, top 10. Most people, guilty as charged, take the assessment. Where am I awesome? Now straight down to, where do I suck?
Yeah, totally.
Straight down to, what's wrong with me? And so it's reminding everyone that this is actually what you're doing right.
Yeah.
This is where you get energy. So lean into that. Do not obsess about what drains your energy. Yeah. It is knowledge. Again, knowledge is power. So when you know what drains your energy, you can kind of avoid it. Actually, when I was debating if I was going to go back to work, when I ultimately did, the company that I worked for 11 years, Sabre, they circled back and they wanted to talk to me about a corporate strategy position. And I, at the time, I needed to contribute to stopping some financial bleeding on our side personally.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I was pretty desperate for a new job. And I'm sitting there at this restaurant having lunch with this VP, and I'm like, that is not going to be a fit. And it was because I know from my self-assessment, strategic thinking is low for me. I'm the influencer. Yeah. I'm the one that let's go. I'm going to motivate you. I'm going to push you. We're going to go from good to great. That's where my zone of genius is. The strategic thinking piece, I bring those people in around me. And so I had to basically say, I will be dying inside, working 10 times harder, trying to do this job. You will be disappointed, wondering why you hired me. It's not a fit. And that was courage to say that when I needed it. But this kind of report really gives you that insight, that guidance to make sure you stay on that energetic path. So your ROE is going to almost always be high.
I am obsessed. Okay. So then let's say you're an entrepreneur and you take this assessment and you're like, okay, these are my strengths. These are my middles. And these are the things that drain my energy. We're not going to call them weaknesses.
Non-strengths.
Right. And then, but we're in a position where we have to wear many hats. And we can't necessarily outsource to cover some of the things that kind of tug at our energy because they aren't necessarily our natural gifts. What are your suggestions in those scenarios? So for example, no one wants me in their books. I can do business calculus in college and get an A+, but otherwise I run my business on girl math because it's just my business and we're doing just fine. But I hate sitting down and being like, let me look at the costs. Let me do the things. So what do we say when it's like, okay, yes, these are things we need to do.
So did you say we can or we cannot outsource?
Cannot, for financial reasons, because you're in the startup years and you're trying to, or let's say maybe you could, but you have to pick and choose where your investments are.
Yeah. So I would say it's probably more that is also someone who was a solopreneur.
Totally.
I have a team, a small but mighty team as of 2 years ago. Right. Yeah. So it's all relatively new. But I will say the looking at the investment part was what was missing from the first time I did this and part of why I failed, because I was trying to do everything.
Yeah.
So if we reframe this into buying back our time and buying back our energy, you and I were talking off camera before about how we spend all this money in our skincare and in our, our mother jeans and all the things that we buy.
We sure do.
That we're not allocating it for our mental health and our sanity.
Yeah.
So those of us that are entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, if we apply that same mentality, it's like, okay, I really despise marketing. If I could get some college kid who can do this in their sleep and pay them $20 an hour for 10 hours a month, I could probably do that. That's a dinner. That's a dinner with 2 glasses of wine with a friend. You know what I mean? So it's relative. I think that's the point. It's relative. It's looking at what we're spending, investing, and then why would we not invest that back into our sanity and our time? Yes. And so the smartest leaders do surround themselves with people that have the strengths that they don't have. Yes. Go make your own coffee. You can handle that bit. But when it comes to, like, there's no way, like you said, there's no way I'm going to touch my financial stuff. Yeah. And my bookkeeper, who also is the CFO of Career Frame now, she has been my MVP. I would have died over the last 10 years without her. And so it really is investing in your sanity and in your energy. Just like we invest in our skincare and our nice jeans and our dinners out with wine and friends.
Honestly, if you add up your Amazon cart, I'm like, those aren't even the good mother jeans. Those aren't even the good mother jeans. And I'm looking at myself in the camera being like, Betsy, those aren't even the good jeans. It's just another sweatshirt that you thought you needed.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
We have to invest in our energy.
You have to invest in your energy. And I think that is such a wonderful reframe for those of us who are like, but I can do this myself. I should do this myself. Should is my biggest red flag word in my language. If I say should, I'm like, oops, I am off somewhere.
If you're shoulding, you're shitting. How I say it. Because every time you say should, someone's like, wait, did she say should or shit?
Did you say shit?
I'm like, yes. Yes. Exactly.
Yes to all of the above. Oh, this is so good.
Well, and also, like, I'll toss this out. One of the most profound books that I have ever read is David Hawkins' Letting Go.
Oh, yes. I love that book.
Phenomenal book.
Phenomenal.
Recommend on Audible because of the chapters. Yeah. And I'll go back and re-listen to a chapter. It's usually acceptance. I digress. Like over and over again, right? He talks about his map of consciousness when it comes to energy, power versus at the top versus force at the bottom. The lowest is shame.
Yeah, shame.
The highest is enlightenment, which many of us don't reach that point. But a lot of us are like the experts in getting down to shame.
Without a doubt. Yeah. And I think shame is a chokehold. It literally keeps us silent. It keeps us stuck. It is just, but what I love about The Art of Letting Go, and actually I literally thought of that book as you were referencing some other things that you were talking about, around fear and sort of reframing me, like, what are you here to teach me? I also like to ask, like, what is not mine to carry?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes.
Because so
that message goes out to all the empaths.
Yeah.
All the empaths, listen up.
Guilty.
Like I've often joked. So I've taken CliftonStrengths twice. I took it in 2015 and then I took it in 2020 after I went through my 2019 year of transformation.
Yeah.
In 2015, again, of the 34, empathy, 34. And I actually had to talk to 2 strengths coaches because I was like, what does that mean? Does that mean I don't care? Does that mean I'm like an asshole? Like, what does that mean? And it's because of trauma. It's because of childhood trauma. And now I know to see these patterns because I've been doing strengths coaching for 10 years. When I retook it, it bumped up to 23.
Wow.
So it's like, okay. And I just started paying attention to it. I didn't read books about it. I didn't get coached on it except for to coach me to understand what this means. But I didn't lean into it. It's just, again, it was a non-talent. So just awareness. But then I started noticing what it felt like to be on the receiving end of someone that was not being empathetic. And I just started paying attention to these things. So it moved up a little bit. But my 4 besties are all empathy number 1. there was a lot of phone a friend. Hi, I need to be empathetic.
Yeah. How do you
What do
do
I
it?
do? How do I handle this? But what I remind the beautiful empaths out there, and like you said, guilty. Okay, so this is to you as well, Betsy.
Yeah.
I mean, such beauty and empathy. It is at the core of emotional intelligence. You've got to be mindful, and I say this to people all the time for effect. I'm like, if you are not putting your mask on first before assisting others, you are half-ass taking care of everybody else.
Yeah.
You're telling yourself you're taking care of everybody else, but you're over here slowly withering away. So you're actually not giving them 100%. You're giving them like 75%.
Yeah.
And that's not probably what you want to do. So it's being really mindful of taking care of you in order to serve and take care of other people from a place of heart and love and meaning.
Yeah.
And it's also don't take on other people's shit.
I know. What
it's
is my deal?
It's not your story to live. It's not your problem to solve.
Not my problem to solve. It's amazing the sad things or the like hard things that I will witness that I'll think about going to bed. And I'm like, I don't even know this person. This is not my shit. Like, but I'm like, but maybe my little bleeding heart is like, maybe if I carry some of that for them, they'll hurt less. Because I know what it's like to hurt. And I'm like, so that's why I'm like, I'll carry it. And I'm like, girl, that's a stranger on the internet. Put it down. They're going to be okay. Send them well wishes, send them love. And
I think that's it. And like, I'll give people a metaphor. I'm like, and it's a little different, I think, for you seeing some stranger on the internet. And
that's an extreme example, but it's real.
and that's great. And I think that one tactic could be, we touched about like if we bring in boundaries to the conversation, right? It's like boundaries going to be, for 5 minutes, I'm going to think about this person. I'm going to send out some love to this person. I'm going to say a little prayer for this person. I'm going to like wonder how this person would do. And then after 5 minutes, I'm just going to trust that they're going to figure it out. And I'm going to let it go.
Yes.
The other analogy I give people is you can get in the boat with someone. Okay. See, I'm the person that I help you in the boat and then I push you away and I go, you got this.
You're doing it.
We're good. Right. Now I might get in the boat for a second, but I'm going to hop out before they take off. But for the empaths, it's get in the boat with them, make sure they're good. Everyone's rowing. We got all the supplies we need, whatever. But then you also want to gather that person and say, see that pier over there? Pull over towards that pier and then I'm going to get out. Yeah. So it's both. It's like setting them up for success, but then also, and while you're in the boat with them, you're basically going, you can handle this. You've got this. All the answers are within you. Lots of deep breaths. And then you get out and you're like, I'm going to be here cheering for you, but you got this. So it's really it's a healthy balance.
I love the analogy of getting out of the boat. My kids are double nines, 12 and 14. And I think about this a lot in motherhood, right? Like I'm really in those transitional years of like, I can trust them to figure this out. I am putting them in the boat. We're talking about the boat. We're talking about how to paddle, like, giving them all the tools. And it's like, okay, you got this. And also if the boat sinks, like, here I come in my raft. Like,
you're like, I got a dinghy. I got a little floaty to toss your way. Don't worry. No one's drowning.
Totally. Yeah. But I think that a lot of people, need those moments in motherhood to be like, hey, you know what? You got this. That is so helpful to hear about that. Right. The thing that I want to bring us closed on it, well, unless something else bubbles up because I'm obsessed, but you talked about sort of like your cocoon year of like 2019, or when you were going through all the Tony Robbins work and you were just like, you kind of breezed through, you were like, well, and I faced my childhood trauma and I worked on this and I worked on that. Like for those of us who have walked through healing, we know that that's the hard part. It's bumpy, it's painful, it's a little fiery, it's kind of scary, but the other side is like truly a piece that you didn't even know was possible. Along with the tools for when anything scary tries to come back, you're like, actually, I can handle this. How did you care for yourself? What boundaries did you have? I mean, for those who are stepping through healing or stepping through a hard time, trying to get their energy back, how did you take care of yourself?
So can I address the boundary piece first?
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in the book, there is a subsection called financial infidelity.
Ooh.
So my husband is literally one of my favorite humans on the planet. I always tell him, there's not enough amazing adjectives to describe this man.
Oh, that's so
and
wonderful.
He is not perfect. I tell them, I'm like, you're perfect 97% of the time. And when I went to UPW, I totally drank the Kool-Aid. And I knew that I needed, he's an introvert, I'm an extrovert. Like we literally are yin and yang. That's why we work so well together. We've been married almost 19 years. And I need full immersion, kick my ass. Because I am a stubborn mule, and I have been a warrior fighter my whole life. My mom got sick when I was 5. She died when I was 9. It's been 42 years, but I didn't grieve her till 36 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was all happened around 2019 is when really all that started.
What a year. I just got goosebumps for you.
Yeah. And so part of the boundary was he and I, his name's Andres. Andres and I have this deal where if we're going to spend over $1,000, we got to talk about it. Anything under $1,000, like, do you? I trust you. Like, we know what we can do. Yeah. I tried to get a hold of him. I couldn't get a hold of him, and I had to make a decision. So I made the decision, and I was like, yes, I want the $10,000 mastery. We did not have $10,000, and we had a shit ton of debt. So when he found this out, he lost his mind.
Yeah.
He told me to call to the Tony Robbins Institute and get my money back. And I did this. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And that was my boundary. It was just like, I love you. You are not going to tell me what I need or what I don't need. You might not need Tony Robbins ass kicking. I do. Yeah. And I know, again, intuitively, I know this is what I need. Yeah. So I found a way. Thank you, Dad. But I found a way. Yeah. And Andres is very analytical. He needed to see the proof, which he did. Yeah. And then he saw me go on to build this business, and like, I don't have a bigger cheerleader, right? But he needed to see the proof. But that was a boundary that I set where I just was like, I'm not trying to put us more into debt. I'm not trying to give you a financial heart attack. And the whole financial infidelity was you did this and we didn't talk about it. Right. Totally. Right? And I was like, I bent the rules a little bit because I trusted myself, and I need you to trust me. And I need you to trust me on this. So that's an example of setting a boundary. I talk about this in my book, and I specifically tell the reader, you need to really understand if you can bend the rules, because that's a fine line. In my marriage and in my relationship, I knew we were strong enough that we would get through it. We'd find a way. Yeah, we did. But that was a boundary, again, unapologetic, where it just was like, no, this is my turn. I'm going to do this for me. Like, I always take care of you and the kids, like the dog, the fish, like this was for me. Yeah. So that was the boundary. And then I apologize. The other question you asked was about,
how did you take care of yourself when you're going through the messy process?
Okay. So, having a coach was a big part of that. Okay. So coaches, you know this as a coach, coaches and therapists are different. Yeah, I have both. And I actually encourage people to have both. Agreed. But my coach, Molly Carroll, she was the one who really helped me go through the tears, go through the fear, go through the doubt. Also, when I was feeling energetic and motivated, ride that wave and have momentum. So she was a huge part of that. I also, the basic stuff, I worked out, I moved my body, I made sure to get sleep, journaled, read like crazy. There's another talent theme in strengths called learner, which is the process of gathering information. 2015, I was learner 26. 2020, it jumped to 10. Wow. Like, it was a huge difference because I just was like, feed the brain, feed the heart, feed the brain, feed the heart. And so there was a lot of just being very intentional about growth and allowing myself, this is the sloppy sideways, it was allowing myself to have like massive, ugly cry. It's a sad chapter, but it is my favorite chapter in the book, and it's called Grief Will Rock You. And it is about how Michael Jackson and Freddie Mercury helped me grieve my mother. Wow. Which sounds hysterical, right? People are like, I'm sorry, there's a story there. There is. But it was also, waves of grief come when you least expect it. Without a doubt. And I just say, all of us have trauma from something. And when the wave hits you, please just let it wash over you. You got to go through it. Nothing I have yet. And if you have an example, I'm all ears, because I have yet to find an example where you get to joy without having to go through pain.
I got nothing.
I literally don't know of anything. And none of us show up and go, hey, I want the pain. Like, no one says that. Yeah. The pain is it's one of the best, if not the best, teachers, because a lot of us are stubborn asses and we have to be knocked to our knees before we'll go, okay, mercy, I'll listen. Yeah. And it's when the pain gets so much that we will then dive in. So that's why my book's called All In. I went all in on the pain. I went all in on the ugly crying. I went all in on the reading, the coaching, the Tonying, the everything, the fire walking. And I even say, I did the fire walk at Tony and I got burned on one of my feet, which was very telling to me. Yeah. It was like, there's still something you're not letting go of. One little burn on the side. But, one foot was great. I was like, okay, I'm mostly there, but I got one little singe. And I was like, there's something I'm still not completely letting go of. So it's also paying attention to the lesson and continuing to learn on that lesson and grow from that lesson. So it was really all of the culmination of those things.
I think it's so true. And I think, you do kind of get the hang of it, don't you think? As you sense, you're like, okay, here comes something. You're like, I can handle this. I know that on the other side of this is joy or peace, the things that we all want and deserve and crave the most. So it's like, and you learn these muscles and these skills to be able to design what kind of your process is for being like, okay, I got to go through something. But I mean, truly the only way out is through. Like, what's the book that we read to all of our kids? Like where it's like wishy-washy through the grass. Remember that? Going on a bear hunt.
That's going on a bear hunt. Yeah. I'm glad you said it, because I was like, I'm blanking on the title.
I don't know where I can't remember my child's birthday when they called the doctor, but here we are going on a bear hunt.
Like you said, again, it's your definition of it. And again, back to full circle to the beginning of this conversation. It's like, don't compare yourself. Like all of us, and we all do. We're all guilty of it. We're all guilty of the comparison. So it's catching ourselves and just going, okay, well, but what if I didn't compare myself? Yeah. Then what? What would I do? And I've got all the answers. Yep. So it's very empowering. Sometimes it feels scary, but again, pain's the best teacher. Mm-hmm. And no human goes without pain. It's what you do with it. Yeah. And just really trusting yourself to go through it. Because the second grief wave with my mom, the first time I grieved as the pissed off little girl. Yeah. That had to do with Michael Jackson. This is just going to intrigue people to want to read this chapter, because I'm going to be like, please, for the love of God, tell me what this has to do with Michael Jackson. Mm-hmm. The second time that had to do with Freddie Mercury, I was grieving for my mom. Mm-hmm. I'm a mom. My mom is 38. About to, she had a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old. My parents were divorced. She did not like my stepmom. She's probably thinking she's going to get all my moments, like all the things. The first time around, it was about 8 weeks of crying and unpacking. The second one, 8 months. Yeah. And so when the grief hits, you just go through it, release it, heal it. And I felt physically lighter at the end of that. Yes. Physically lighter. It's good. I read in, is it Sober Curious? All these amazing books written by these women who were like raging alcoholics and now they're sober and what they learned about it. I think it was Sober Curious, where she gives the analogy of if you're walking around with 2 buckets full of water, it's heavy. So you got to pour some of the water out. And that's the crying. Yes. And that's one of the things one of the first bits of advice I give in the book is cry your ass off. I think crying is a sign of strength. A lot of women think it's weakness. And I'm like, no. It says you're human, you care, you have emotions, you feel. Like, how is that not a strength? Yeah. So
I love that. I think that is truly, and for anyone who is shying away, doesn't want to face the pain, pain, pain gets a bad rap. It sounds like this big, awful, scary thing, but some of it can just be small, slightly painful, but pain's pain. But if you give yourself the space and the time to sit with it, I think the hardest part and what makes pain so painful is when you're trying to skirt it and you're kind of trying to rush through it. That feels icky and it hurts. It physically makes my chest hurt to even say those words. Yeah. But if you're like, if I can find the time to give myself the space, sometimes to your point, grief happens when you're least expecting. You're like, that was a tidal wave. That was rude. That was not on my timing.
Yep.
but you can unpack it and sit with it and let it wash over you when you give yourself the space and the breath to be able to do it.
And I think that that's also boundaries. It's there's another book that I'm giving a lot of these books, but I don't remember all the authors. There's a book called Boundary Boss.
Boundary Boss. I have not read that one.
And it just, again, like how we can have boundaries, especially as women. And one of the boundaries is I need space to take care of me.
Yeah. And
those of us that are moms, and you, like a single mom of 4, I mean, I'm just gonna bow down to you for a second. It's a must. Finding the space to take care of you somewhere other than in the bathroom with the door closed, hiding, is really crucial. Again, brings the energy, helps you go all in, all the things that we've been talking about on this conversation.
Joy Creative Shop is one of my very favorite female-founded businesses. Steph, the founder, is not only a dear friend of mine, but a woman I truly admire as a female business owner. We even had her on the podcast. Go back and listen to our episode, Making Space for Every Woman's Success, if you haven't yet. At Joy Creative Shop, you'll find paper products we all love, personalized notepads, cards, list organizers, and the cutest wrapping accessories that make any gift extra special. Whether you're looking for thoughtful teacher holiday gifts, a housewarming present, or just a little something to keep yourself organized, Joy Creative Shop has you covered. And because you're part of the Write Your Own Story community, you'll get 10% off your order with the code Betsy10. Head to joycreativeshop.com and add a little joy to your everyday. I want to close with, if someone walked up to you and they were like, I read your book, I want to be all in, and you could see the trepidation in their eyes, but they want it so deeply in their soul, what would you say to them?
I would say, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. You know, you're allowed to want more. You're allowed to rest more. You're allowed to receive more, and you're worth that. You don't have to measure yourself based on what you endure.
I just got goosebumps head to toe. I think
just do it.
It's incredible. I love that. Oh my God. Carrie, thank you so much for your time today.
Pleasure. I love this conversation.
Me too. I'm going to listen to this episode over and over. It is such a gift to sit on this couch and talk to some incredible women and these conversations. And it's just been an absolute pleasure to meet you. Everyone, please share this episode. There's so much wisdom and truly like energetic force pulsing through this conversation that can inspire any woman in any walk of life. So it's such a gift. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your energy. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor and pleasure to be here with you.
Likewise. All right, you guys. Thank you everyone for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Well, that's the end of this episode, but promise me, you won't stop here with whatever it is you're feeling or dreaming about. I hope you leave today feeling empowered to live life just as you see fit. If this podcast was helpful to you, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review on whatever platform you're listening on. I genuinely just want to help women live the life they dream about. So if this type of content tracks with you, subscribe to this podcast or visit our website, writeyourownsstory.co, to download digital courses or to grab a journal and a mug to just dream in and dream with. It's your life, lady. Do you. And just remember, I'm rooting for you and you've totally got this.